So, welcome to Magnetic Money. I am so excited because magnetism and money and manifesting are like my most favorite things in the world to speak about. And so I cannot wait to bring to you some beautiful transmission. I've been really praying that you'll get so much out of this, and that you'll get the thing that's meant to come through. I just ask for you to really be intuitive and really to be open to what I'm sharing. Like, let your whole body be open to it, because this could be a cellular piece that comes through. It could be, I have so many people that come into this space and they just have this embodiment, this transmission that comes through. So don't necessarily focus on taking lots of notes or anything like that. Really be open and receive and be present. And I know online, we can be opening up lots of tabs and being everywhere. Like, be as present as you can, because you're going to receive so much more if you can do that. So yeah, I've just asked for people to set their intentions. Like, what are they here for? Why have they come? What's the big thing? So yeah, just for the people watching in the replay, like, tune into that for you as well. Tired of playing small, just making ends meet. Beautiful, because that's not the way that you're meant to be. We're meant to be expansive beings. We are limitless creatures. And that's why we're tired of that, because it's not who we are. It's not who we want to be and are meant to be. Learn about magic. Amazing. Love magic. Safety and certainty with money. So I feel confident to fully launch business. Yes. Beautiful. And there's the magic part and the feminine part. And then there's also the security and the masculine of just consistency, and that money can support us and really be there to provide, because you're amazing. Oh, Jackie, I love you, hon. Miss Farley. My soul keeps drawing me to you. Oh, that's nice. My intention is to magnetize money so I can be here more often. Yes. Awesome. Let go of money blocks or limiting life. Yep. Change and transformation, learning and growing and open to receiving. Amazing. Evolve and step into my purpose. Beautiful. Watch my talk with Jane and want to hear more. Oh, cool. I'm like, I do some little podcasts and stuff. I never know which ones people hear. Keen to hear your journey of energetics and how that turned your business around. Amazing, Sasha. Good to see you, hon. Limitlessness and abundance. Yes. Manifesting, magic money, magnetic money. Block about self-esteem. Yes, we can go into that for sure, hon. Learn to receive on a bigger scale and manifest heart's desires. Amazing. To go deeper, gain terms of clarity shifting. Yes. Abundance, passive income, travel, freedom. Amazing. All right. We're all on the same page. I really just wanted to hear like what you're here for. And I really desire to give you absolutely everything that I can in this hour. I'm going to actually pour into above and beyond every little piece that I can get out of this, so that you can receive a breakthrough. You can receive, abundance in your world, in every field of life. Because when I talk about magnetism is about this, phenomena that there is something that attracts or repels, us with us, and something we desire. We're either attracting it and drawing it in, or we're repelling it, or it's just inert and it's stuck and it's just not moving. We're either in one of the three things with everything that we desire. And when I talk about, money, I'm not just talking about money. I say magnetic money because it rhymes with magnetism, money. But I'm meaning abundance in all of life. We're not going to just talk about money tonight. We are going to use it as an example, because for me, money and business has been the pathway and the portal into which I've evolved in all these different elements of my life. And the same way in which I manifest and magnetize money and business is the same thing I do to magnetize health and vitality, to be most fulfilled in my whole life than I've ever been, to draw in love, like relationships, friendships, like everything that I do, it is the same that we can use in every field. So when we're talking about abundance here, we're talking about your whole life being whole, wholesome, abundant in every moment, loving the juiciness of life all the time. And that's what we're going to talk about. But we're going to talk about money and business as well, because that's an area that we learn this from and can learn it to apply to everywhere as well. But the fact is, your soul and what you really came here for isn't just about money. It's about your wholeness. It's about your whole of abundance. So we're going to bring that out tonight as well. So I'm super excited, and yeah, really good to hear your intentions. And I'm going to really get beginning, I'm going to get going, because I'm feeling a lot of energy. I'm feeling a lot of fire, and I've got a lot to share with you that I really want to get through to support you tonight. So what I'm going to start to do is some of you may have heard some of my stories before. You may know me in a certain element. I'm actually going to just start telling you a bunch of stories to reiterate a point that I really want you to understand. And that is the first point I want you to understand around magnetic money. And if you want to become a magnetic force in the planet for your desires, all of your abundant desires and more, you want to experience abundance in every field of your life, you need to understand this key thing. And you may know it, but are you embodying it? The key thing is the world is energetic. The universe is energy. Quantum physics shares with us that majority of what is around us in the physical material world is actually energy. It's electrical currents. It's things that we cannot see with the physical matter, and it's majority of the universe is dark matter, space, energy. It is not the physical matter that we can see and touch and feel in our human bodies and the houses. And it's actually the minuscule, proportion, 0.00 whatever percent is physical matter. The rest is energy. And if you can understand this first thing and apply this with your life, this is the first thing that completely and utterly changed my life. And I want to ask you, when I'm saying this, I'm going to tell you a bunch of stories that will help reiterate this. Are you living your life prioritizing energy above all else? Or are you living your life in survival in the physical human realm, trying to physically force things into your being and make shit happen? That's my first question, because I know what I did for majority of my life up until 4 or 5 years ago, before I learned this. And I want to tell you some stories. So felt called to come for a bit of Morona magic. Awesome. So when I first started out my business, some of you may know that my beginning of my business was just at the back end of having a life of struggle, a life of battle with mental health, with, eating disorders, with, physical stuff, with losing jobs, with not having money consistently, and things that were out of my control as to why I lost them as well. Like there was just shitstorm after shitstorm. And I studied 8 years of psychology. I worked my ass off, was in the well-being space for 14 years, spent a lot of money on my own development, all of these things. But it didn't really matter what I did and how hard I worked and what I understood, and I was on this journey from about 15 years old to just fix my problems and fix my life and figure it all out, So this was 15 years of trying so hard, got to 30 years old. And the surmounting part of me trying to fix it, figure it out, physically force my life into submission to be what I wanted it to be, was when I was 6 months pregnant, when I was the most vulnerable in all of my life, and I was just about to go on maternity leave. The moment my husband was meant to step into being the provider for me, being that person, I was with him for 10 years and I'd got my 10-year relationship with him, was having my baby, I was turning 30, I had a good job, I was earning pretty good money, and I was about to start my coaching business. And I was like, look, everyone, I'm going to be a motivational speaker. I've figured life out. I know how to force it into submission. Listen to me. I've got something to tell you. This is what I was thinking, right? Month later, bang, find out he's cheating on me. Bang, he can't face it. We can't deal with it. We can't work through it. We're over. 10-year relationship, person I loved for my whole life, best friend, gone in an instant. One I talked to every day, for 10 years, gone. My friendship circle I was connected to, gone. My maternity leave I was on, so I was disconnected from my community. It's the work I was at. No job, no money. My body was the worst it had ever been. Everything I'd put my life on, everything I held my worth on, everything I'd worked so hard to create, smashed down into smithereens in one moment. And that was the pinnacle of me trying to force my life and force into the physical human realm what I wanted. That was that was what I created, a shitstorm of problems, my worst nightmare living out, in day to day. And it made me depressed. It made me so sort of powerless. I was like, well, what? I can't do anything. I cannot create what I want. I've tried so hard and look where it's got me, So that was the beginning of my business. Now, a few months on through that, I was in the victim. I was sad and all things. But then I was like, well, I've co-created this. And so, and I also don't want to be a zombie for my son. And so I actually went into embodying and changing and doing deep work to get out of that. But for 3 years, I still had this sense of this strategy, focus. I'm going to physically force this and learn this and change that. It was very much in the physical realm, right? My human trying to figure things out and create. And so I hadn't cottoned on to the fact that the world was energy yet, but there's things that were happening that started to make me see this. So the first thing that happened when I began my business, I had a belief in God, and I said, like, God, I need you to help me. Like, I'm a single mom. I have no way of making money. My ex wasn't having to pay me very much. Like, I need to get food for my son. Like, and I just said, I'm asking you to give me the same amount of money I used to get in my job, the exact amount I used to get full-time working before. I need you to give it to me every month. Like, I would love this right now. Thanks. I said a little thing, right? And I believed it was possible. Guess what? Every single month, to the dollar of that whole year, I created the exact amount of money I used to get in a job every single month without fail, even though it wasn't always from my business. It was from all these different means of gifts and the government this or that, job that and business this. And I got the exact dollar to the dollar, the paycheck. I check my bank account, I check the income every month, exact amount. How the heck does that happen? Right? I move away to the beach. And for some reason, when I move away to the beach, I'm away from my family, I'm an hour away. And I, for some reason, think God's like not come with me and God's over there. And so I just stopped believing that's going to happen anymore. Guess what happens that 1 month I stopped believing it's going to happen? I make $0. Nothing comes in. I start doing insecurity work. I start doing emotional work on myself, get this coach to help me. I stop my business because I'm like, I got to sort this out. This is a mess. Do all this stuff. I haven't done any marketing in my business. Start doing all this inner work. Start feeling great. Start believing about my life again. Don't tell anyone I'm marketing. Don't do any business work. But somehow money comes in and people start paying and buying. Then I have a big issue with this guy I liked, have this fight with him, and just goes to shit. And I feel shit again. I feel powerless again. My heater breaks, my garage breaks. I get no money again. Like, what on earth? Like, I still hadn't figured out. This is going on for a year that, like, I have anything to do with the money situation. If there's any energetic thing, right? So I'm still trying to like force money to come into my submission. I'm still trying to create it through strategy coaches and spend $300,000 at this point on strategy coaches and business coaches and force this, get that, figure that out, right? Nothing happens. Like I make 0K and 5K, 2K, 7K. Like it's flipping all over the shop and I don't really understand why. And it doesn't matter. I seem to be consistent with everything I'm doing and it doesn't matter. I learn about energy work. I learn from someone about this energy world and I start meditating. I go, stuff this strategy thing. I've done 3 years of this by now. I could tell you way more stories of up and down based on what's happening inside of me, right? But anyway, long story short, I learn about energy work. I say, okay, stuff strategy, stuff acting. I've tried it for 3 years. It's not working for me. I'm going to meditate. And I literally just like meditated for the month. The whole month, all I did was meditate. And I meditated on creating this 10K month because till that point, it's still 3 years on. Didn't matter how hard I tried. I hadn't created a 10K month yet. So start meditating, continue to go back meditating, get in fear, whatever. I think I should do some action. Not meditating. It was just an experiment I was in, right? The last call of that day, on the last day of that month, I made $10,000 of sales. Exactly. That last sale on the last day on the last call clicked over to $10,000 by meditating, by not doing anything. People just were drawn to me, came to me. People that had said yes a while back came in and I was like, oh my goodness, like what the heck? And that's when I really started to realize, hang on, like after 3 years, the universe is like, Miranda, are you getting it yet? The world has got a soul. The world is energy. And you can create it all. And you are creating it all. Every time I had money or didn't have money, had my business grow or didn't have it grow, it was all just a mirror and a projector from what was happening in here. It was just being projected out there. I wasn't powerless. I wasn't not creating it. I was creating everything. Every time it went up and down, still to this day, it's all about what's happening in here. So I want you to know the first piece I want you to understand is one, the world is energetic. The universe is energetic. Your business, money, it's all about energy, primarily. Yes, there's still a physical world. Yes, we still have to take action. I'll talk about that more later. But you need to understand primarily, fundamentally, 80%, 90%, whatever it is you want to say, is the energy. And you can create all that you want unless you give your power away. If you're writing a note, write down, you can create it all. unless you give your power away. You are the predominant creative force in your life, whatever is happening. And you may not want to accept that. I know there was a lot of times I didn't want to accept it, but in reality, the most powerful place to be is in your power and knowing you're creating it all. So if you're creating something you don't want, you can change it and create something you do. Because if you're a victim and you're powerless, you can't do shit. Doesn't matter what you do. Right? So I'd love you to write down one of the key things that you're taking away from this so far. Just put in there, chat, what's a key thing standing out right now? And I'm just going to skim through those things before I keep going, because I'm going to tell you about then what I'd learned after that place to help me create consistency, magnetic money experiences. Recreate our reality and abundance, 100%. Trust the higher self. Yeah. We can create all unless we get in the way. Yeah. And I know for me, there were some things that I was creating that I didn't want to accept and admit that I was co-creating. I wanted to play the victim card. I wanted to feel powerless. I wanted to feel like my husband did this and this and this to me, and I was just this little victim. But the fact is I co-created all of it. And I want to know that I co-create all of it, because then I can change it. But if I'm not, if I can't, I can't change any of it. It's all just happening to me, and I've got no way of doing anything, right? So yes, you're the creator, energetics, keyboard issue, that all good. Energy is everything. We are energy. Yes, before we are physical, 100%. Magic is in the metaphysical. Yes, surrender and allow. And, you know, people can create on the physical plane. Like I still did, before I went fully into energetic work, I was still making, like, after that meditation experience, like I still made some 10K months or 20K, or like in the physical and doing more in that realm, right? But it was hard work. It was exhausting, depleting, killing parts of my soul and my life force, hurting my relationships, hurting the clients that I was with, because I was just having to do it in this monotonous, robotic way. It was disconnected. It wasn't emotionally involved and energetic. So there's always costs and destruction when we are forcing things into submission versus working with the universe, working with energy, which is a lot more limitless and abundant for all people, not, you know, I win, you lose, win-win all, win-win for the universe, win-win for the earth. We're not just destroying resources, you know. Amazing. I'm loving your takeaways, everyone. Yeah. And the thing I'm saying here is, like, you could understand this and you're like, yeah, Miranda, I know about energy, but it's like, how much of your life is every day and every breath living where you're prioritizing this? Because I can tell you, I learned this 4 or so years ago now, and I still have to battle with myself all, like, the time to keep putting my energy and keep putting my soul and keep putting my superconscious as my focus, because my ego and my unconscious and the human part of me just always wants to keep in control, you know, and this is years of living this now, you know. So you may know it, but it's like, how much are you living this? How much are you embodying this? How much of this is, and you can ask yourself this by looking at your life and, like, if I got the results I want, beautiful, you know, because results don't lie. But if I'm creating stuff I don't want, then there's still somewhere in me that I'm not fully embodying that energetic in that space, right? Abundance is our birthright. Yes, 100%. Yeah, talk to God more. Yeah. Like, and this is a simple little thing, a little side note for you ladies, like to use, you know, ask God, the universe, superconscious, like, for support more often, because then the universe isn't coming in to support you unless you ask. It can't override your free will, right? And so just send up prayer, send up requests, send up desires. I literally have said so many times where I've just been like, oh, hey, you know, universe, like, I would love 30K tomorrow, you know, in 24 hours. Thank you so much. You know, and it's not coming out of a, like, you must demand, you know, it's coming out of just desire, playful request. Wouldn't it be nice if this, you know? And I can tell you that many times that it's just happened, you know, magic things. I just said, oh, I want this many people in my Machu Picchu retreat, and I want this many people in alchemy by the end of the year. You know, last year I said this. You know, thank you, you know. And I was like, but I'm also going to take a holiday and I'm not going to do anything in my business for the next 2 months. So thanks for setting them, you know. And it happened. The numbers came, right? Even though I wasn't working. So yeah, we can ask God and universe some more support for sure. Okay. Love what you're sharing and taking away. So I'm going to share, I guess, the the pieces now on how to do this a little bit more, how to actually go into this a little bit more. Because right now, I haven't talked about, well, how do we create this? Like, okay, if energy's there, but how do you create consistent magnetism with money and abundance and all the things? So I'm going to go into the 3 key areas now of what you can be doing and working with to create it. Okay. So the first thing that you need to understand is that you have a superconscious, or you might call it your soul, your heart. People call it different things, right? But ultimately, the true identity of who you really are, is a superconscious being, a soul-led, heart-led, beautiful being, a miracle of life, right? And you're the force of the universe. You've got gold in your actual DNA, you've got golden dust, the stardust, like in you, right? You are a creation of the universe. You have the power of God and the universe in you. And the first thing that happened for me when I started to, meditate and have that 10K month, and then I kept creating, 10K, 20K, 30K, 60, 100, 200, kept growing and growing and growing. One of the most fundamental things I need to tell you is that I started defining myself and seeing myself as a superconscious being, as a powerful, magnetic goddess, that who I truly was. Because life and your experiences and your ego and your unconscious and all of this shit, that can happen, starts to form beliefs about you that you're not worthy, you're not enough, you're powerless, you're not capable, you're not blah, 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 whatever. And then if you don't deal with that, and if that's got the energy, then you just then create life that reflects that, because that's your inner world. Your inner world is that you suck. Your inner world is that you're not worthy. Your inner world is you don't have money, you're poor, rich is evil, rich is corrupt, money is bad, and it's going to make you evil. So, no money's good. And we don't have money. That's not who we are. And so you start defining yourself in this way, and you create life reflecting that. So the very first thing that happened when I had that first 10K month, and then I just continued to grow beyond that. And by the way, when I learned about this, I had 33 years of my life trying so hard to create the life I wanted, and never been able to conquer money or, business or anything, life. And then from this point on, I've never gone backwards ever again with money after 33 years of struggling with it. The last 4 years, it's just been going up, 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 abundance in all areas because of these things I'm going to tell you. So the first one is super conscious. And when we're a super conscious being, you're whole and complete right now in this moment. You're full, you're fulfilled right now in this moment. That's your identity. That's who you are. And so you've got a sense of abundance in your being. Your being is already in abundance. Your life is already full of abundance. And so that means you can be present to the now. You can be slow, because when we're slow and we're steady, it's because we're full and abundant. We're not in any rush. We're in abundance. We don't have a rush to get somewhere. We're not lacking anything. You don't have to fix shit because you're not broken. So it's all good. Everything else is a bonus, right? And as a super conscious being, your purpose in life is to express yourself, to express your creative, to force your power, to expand and grow, and to taste more of life, to experience more of life. That is what you desire. To move with love and to go towards what you love, like to go to the unfamiliar, to have courage. Like when you're in your superconscious being, your heart is incredibly open. You're this magnetic force on the planet. And when your heart is open, do you know that your heart has 100 times the electromagnetic field of current than your head? And when you're tapping into your superconscious and your soul, your heart, this incredibly potent magnetic force, is opening and expanding, right? And this is where the magnetism starts to happen. This is where you begin to draw in more of your desires, because you are a match for abundance. You're a match for fulfillment. You're a match for love. You're a match for health. You're a match for impact, influence, leadership, because you're vibrating at it. You're imagining yourself as it. You're seeing yourself as that. And you're putting more power into the real truth and into your future that you would love to have. You're putting more imaginative power into all of that. And if I can tell you something that shifted my whole 33 years of life before this point, I had it all in my past, all in my history, all in my ego, all in my victim, all in my woe is me, my husband left because I'm ugly and this and that and whatever. All my stories, like the power was in that. And so I just kept reliving the past as this time capsule over and over and over again. The moment I started to realize that's not actually even true, it's all made up bullshit. This is who I truly am. This is my true identity. I'm abundant now. I'm full now. I literally, and I didn't tell you guys this, but you may have heard it before in a story, I had $20,000 of debt right before this moment when I changed this. I'd spent $5,000 a month on 2 coaches that I had at the time. They were strategy coaches. They were the last strategy coaches I've ever had. And because I was still putting so much emphasis on the past, I was still putting so much emphasis on these coaches having the power and I didn't, putting emphasis on I'm in lack, I need money. So everyone could sense that I was in lack and I wasn't a match for abundance. So I kept getting more lack, The moment I learned about the superconscious, the moment I started seeing myself as whole and I wasn't broken, I didn't need these coaches to fix me. I had the intuitive power within myself and I had answers in here that I could tap into. The moment I sort of felt the abundance around me already right now, even though I had $20,000 of debt, I could still see abundance all over the place around my life. The moment I started to feel powerful and that I had something to give and I was of service and I had value to add to these people, I had a $20,000 month. And bang, just kept growing and growing and growing because I came from my imagination. I came from my superconscious. I came from my power. I came from abundance. I was a match for abundance. Before I came from the victim, I was in lack. I was in separation. I was a match for lack and separation. Hey, do we see this? Tell me what you're taking, ladies. I'm getting super hot because I'm like, I'm going to have to take my top off in a second. I'm so hot because it's like just fire coming out of me. Tapped into moments of this wholeness and I freak out like something bad will happen. Yeah. Don't fully allow everything good. Yes. And this is a key thing. I've worked with women now for the last 4 or 5 years on this. And, I have also been embodying this. And we have to like slowly, like a wineskin opening and expanding to the wine within it. We have to slowly allow the nervous system to open and expand to the power that we have. Because you think like, oh yeah, I want all this money. Oh yeah, I want all this power. I want all abundance. And it's unfamiliar to the ego. The ego freaks the fuck out. I created 200K in 1 month, right? I went from 100K launch and then I had a 200K launch 6 months later, doubled income in just like 2 months. And this was after like just being on 10, 20K months before that, not long before. I freaked out. I firstly liked it for a day and then I freaked out and I felt guilty and shameful and that I was unworthy. Why do I get this? Like, I'm going to stuff this up. It's all going to go to shit. Like, because we need to slowly expand our capacity to enjoy this because we're not used to operating in our superconscious, in our full power, in abundance. We've had experiences where life and people and women and men and the tall poppy and they'll just cut us down and we're being seen and they're going to pull us out and the witch hunts and all the things that can happen, right? And it's unfamiliar to our body. Love this. Yes. If you don't align, you get the opposite. 100%. Whatever this is magnetism, ladies. Whatever you're a match for is what you're drawing in. Whatever you have in your life right now, it's just feedback to you that right now, this is what you're a match for. This is your magnetism right now. And you can change it at any point because the current reality you have right now is just a reflection of your past being. And your future reality is a reflection of your current being. So if you change your current level of love you pour into yourself, if you change the current level of health you pour into yourself, if you change the current level, you're the deciding factor. You don't need to wait for money to tell you you're worthy and you deserve abundance or that you're abundant. Let me tell you something, ladies. I felt the most abundant I'd ever felt in my entire life when my ex had left me and I was a single mom by myself. And I actually felt the most beautiful. I was looking in the mirror. I don't know if you've had a baby, but when you have a baby, you have that jelly belly and I had stretch marks all over my belly. I used to have the worst self-image and self-worth. Like when I was 50 kilos, whatever, married to him throughout my 20s, 30s. And I actually felt the most beautiful I'd ever felt looking at the mirror with my jelly belly because it's all from inside of us. It's all about how we're looking at ourselves. That's all. Beauty is just how we see ourselves and how we feel about ourselves. I was 50 kilos or whatever it was, thinking I was the ugliest thing on the planet. I'm sitting there, the biggest I'd ever been, stretch mark, jelly belly, and I thought it was the most beautiful thing because I actually just saw myself and chose to see myself in beauty. And then more beauty kept coming. I felt the most abundant then, even though I had the least amount, because it's all an energetic. And guess what? When we feel abundant, abundance starts to get created. I've had times when I've had hundreds of thousands of dollars in my bank account or hundreds of K coming in or whatever, and I've been in scarcity because it's not about money. It's not about the number. It's about our energy. And I still need to work on my abundance all the time. I still need to feel safe. You think you're going to get some magical number over 10K a month, over 100K, or I'm going to make millions and then I'll feel, no, it's not like that. It's an energetic. It's not about the number. It's not about the physical reality. It's about how you're feeling inside. And the only way to change it is by creating it in here first, right? The difficulty could be to identify all the unworthiness thoughts, make the change. You don't need to know all of them. You don't need to know all the thoughts. I'll tell you a bit of a practice later, hun. So let's just flag that. I'll tell you about that, but you don't need to know all of them. That's fine. It's still feel a lot of fear and insecurity. Yeah. Feel like you're pretending to be abundant. Yeah. And this is the thing, like, we don't need to pretend as well, right? We can be really real with ourselves. And I'll tell you a bit more about that later too. So the first thing about you being a super conscious being, what I want you to do, and I'm going to get you to just sit with this for a moment and reflect on this. This is a way to sort of really anchor in what we're talking about here, and a bit of a practice for how you can start to appreciate and use this. I want you to look at like something you want to create. So an offering, product that you want to create, something part of your business, and ask yourself, like, what is your soul's desire for this thing? Why does your soul want this? What is the deep reason you want to create this for yourself, for the people, for whatever? What is this really all about for you? And you don't have to write it in the chat, just write it for yourself. Like, what is at the core of this for you? What's the core desire? What's the core reason? I'll give you an example. Like, I just ran a retreat to Bali a few months ago, and my heart's desire, like what was really core for me and what was really true for me as to why I ran it, is because I just absolutely love travel and transformation. Like, travel and growth and transformation coaching is like the top two values in my whole life. Like, I love them to absolute bits. So I just wanted to do them both together, and I wanted to connect with women in person and have this beautiful, deep connection to these women that I would love. And I loved in an instant of meeting them. And within the first hour, a few of them are on this call. We had the most beautiful, amazing time together. I didn't care if there were 2 people there or 10 or 20 or what. Like, my heart just wanted to have that experience. And it was one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had in my life, And I had to connect to my heart's reason for it, because I'm going to tell you about the next part of us, because as soon as we're disconnected from that and we're connected to our ego's reason, we don't have life in the offering anymore. We've disconnected from love. We've disconnected from soul. We've disconnected from the universe, source, the life force, vitality that's trying to put it together. So you don't need to, fully share about it yet or anything like that. But I just want you to start to, think about, what does your heart want it for? What's the soul's deep reason, desire? And really get to the heart of, like, what do you really want at the core of this? Like, what is this really about for you? I could really see this deep connection I have, and then the gratitude on the other side with them. And just really spending time luxuriating in that, imagining that, write it down, but really envision it, imagine it, experience that. When I had that 20K month, instead of making it about money and the fear I had about the money, I had it about the service with these women and how powerful I was going to create this impact for these women, right? Because that's what my soul really wanted, to have this transformation for them. And as soon as I put more energy in that, less in the ego, bang, it creates, right? Because your heart is the magnetic force. Love is the magnetic force. Your soul is the magnetic force. So I'm going to move on, but that's a little side thing for you to look at. Okay. I'm going to look at the two other pieces that I want to share with you tonight. So the second one here is that you also have an ego. You also have an unconscious. You have a head. And this ego is going to make you feel like you're separate. And it's going to make you feel like you're incomplete and that you're broken and that you need fixing. Because the whole point of when you come down into this planet from this superconscious being that you are, this life force vitality that you are, you come down into the planet, you start to orientate into how life is here. And you've got to see yourself as separate and individual to everyone else, because you're a human. It's this person, and this is your name, and this is who you are, and who are you, and who are they, and how do men work? How do women work? You know, how does the world work with you? How does God work? How does life work? You're constantly trying to figure it out because you're like an alien on the planet. If an alien came down, they've got to start figuring out, like, how does this world work? Who are you? What's ice cream? Like, do I put it on my head, or, oh, no, hang on, I lick that. Okay. Like, you got to like figure it out, right? That's what we're doing. And so the ego's point is to give you orientation and figure out how life is and who you are. And it's trying to make you fixed to know that is it. And then it wants to stay the same forever. It doesn't want to create new identities every day. That's fucking exhausting. It only has a certain amount of bandwidth. So it's trying to keep you alive. It's afraid. It's fearful. It's trying to have pressure to get you fixed, to get you complete, to figure things out, to deal with life's scary, experiences. Like, this is its preoccupation. So it's trying to be in control. It's trying to keep you in the familiar. It's trying to repeat the history of your life over and over and over again, because that's safe. Even if being abused was what happened as a kid, that's more familiar. So you're going to create abuse all through your life. Being with narcissistic people, being unloved, being unheard, being unseen, being invisible, being insignificant, whatever it is, doesn't matter how bad it is, you're going to keep creating it because it's familiar. So that feels safe. So we all have this ego, and with everything that you want, everything that you're going for, your ego is going to have a relationship to it, and your ego is going to have an agenda, and your ego is going to have an approach. And then your superconscious is going to have another one. Your soul is going to have another one. And you need to be very, very aware of what your ego is deeply attached to. And you can write this down, with this offering that you have, or this creation that you want to put out in the world. This can be for a relationship. This can be for health. This can be for business products, offers like retreats, coaching, like whatever. You can do this on anything. But ask yourself and get really clear. What's your ego's relationship to this? What is its deep fears about this? What is it attached to and really need to have happen? Or it's life or death? Because the thing is, the ego thinks it is life or death if this doesn't happen. What does it need to run from, run away from? When I, going back to that Bali retreat, I had this beautiful desire to create this retreat, but I also had my ego getting in the way, freaking out about it. And at the first few weeks of launching it, my ego is deeply afraid about my image and my brand and how big it is and how good it looks and what everyone's perceiving about me and whatever. That's what my ego is afraid about, right? And so with the retreat, all it really cared about with the ego is like, what if one or two people come, how the video is going to look? It's going to look shit. And then everyone's going to think, oh, my business is shit. And then they're going to make all these judgments about me. And they're going to go, well, maybe thinking about working with Miranda, but stuff that, like, she's a loser, like, I'm not going anywhere near her. This is, my ego is freaking out about all this stuff. And at the beginning of that launch, because I had some power, or there was some energy in that fear, and I hadn't actually alchemized it, the energy is in the ego a little bit more. And so it was blocking my launch. I was trying to take actions. I was trying to do things. People weren't coming. It wasn't magnetizing. It was closing off. It was repelling, because the ego was blocking it. Even when I didn't, I try to take an action, sometimes I'd get blocked. I'd feel so much pressure. I'd start procrastinating. I wouldn't be able to really tell people about it because I was scared about it, because there's all this pressure that if it doesn't work, my life's over, my business is over, I'm done. The ego is so afraid about all this. So I wasn't even taking as much action as I would have been. When I put it back into the heart, I went back into, what do I actually want this for? What do I really care about with this? then the launch started opening. People started coming. I remembered, oh, I'm doing this for love. I'm doing this to connect. If one person's there, awesome. I'm going to have a holiday with one person and we're going to go deep together. No, great. My superconscious doesn't give a shit. I'm traveling and I'm transforming. I could be just doing it with myself or take my family. Like, that's fine. I'm still going to do it. Like, I'm still going to go. You know, if people look at it that way, judge my retreat because of that, like there's one person, oh, well, that's on them. Like, I don't care. Like, it's fine. And as soon as I started being not attached, being fulfilled, seeing that this is a bonus and I'm going to love this anyway, bang, people started coming. I had the most crazy, amazing, beautiful experience. I had this Alchemy of Abundance event and I wanted to have 33 women in there. And I tried and put 20K of ads in and done all these actions and whatever. And I ended up having like 5 people in there or 7, you know, by the time it was like a week and a half away from when it was beginning. And I was still like, just like, I don't really want this. I don't even know if I'm going to do this. I was just disconnected from it, right? I was not in my heart with it at all. And then I was like, hang on, like, why am I actually doing this? What's this really about? I love talking to women and I love talking to a bigger group of women and I loved facilitating and online and transformation and having a 2-day thing. And I'm super excited for the energy that's going to bring and what channeling I'm going to have coming through. And I connected to it. Literally 3 days later, 33 women came through. 30 women nearly came through in 3 days from one action I took after I connected to my heart with my offering. Your heart is magnetic. And if you move in your heart and soul, like, it's powerful. But if you're moving in your ego and in fear and in pressure and for life or death survival, you're blocking yourself every step of the way. You're either blocking your magnetism, you're blocking your action, you're blocking the result. I can tell you, I've tried to just chuck money in ads when I've been off. I've tried to just do all this stuff. It doesn't matter. If I'm not aligned and I'm not in my heart, there's no light on. There's no life force. I'm going to show you guys this. I'm going to see, I'm hoping. Put in the chat what you're taking away as well, ladies, while I show you this. I'm going to see if you can see this. Hang on, let me make that a bit brighter. Okay, I'm hoping that you can see my little, some of you may have seen this before, but this is my little metal rods. I'm going to show you this in a physical way, okay? So this is just the power of energy and you being in your heart and in love and the frequency of that versus in your ego and in your fear. So I'm really excited for Machu Picchu. I'm super excited about this trip I'm about to take. I just can't wait to travel and I have this most beautiful, spiritual, amazing experience like with these women. I can just imagine it now. It's just going to be so exquisite and transformative and like, yeah, just amazing, right? I'm holding my hand still and just notice what's happening to these rods, right? But I'm really hot right now and I've been a little bit annoyed. Today has been a little bit like of a frustrating day, just like the weather was all weird and I just felt like I've taken a little bit more action. I've just been a little bit more busy than I want to be. And I don't want to be busy. I don't want to do all this bloody action shit. I like to just chill and relax and take the odd thing every now and then. Like I'm a bit sick of that when I have to do that. Okay. What happened there, ladies? You can see that. Did you see it opening and closing? Yeah. When you're in your heart, when you're in the frequency of love, when you're in the frequency of your power, you know, you're in flow, you're in fulfillment, you're in, you know, deep acceptance of you and of life and trust. And like you're opening your heart, you're opening your magnetic field, you're becoming that open magnetic force on the planet to be open to your desires. Your light is on, your turn on is there, opening to your desires to draw in everything that you want, be in flow and to draw it in. If you're in deep guilt, shame, like frustration, like you're in like fear, you're in your ego, you're doing all this, you're closing yourself off, you're closing off opportunities, you're closing off life, you're closing off your own life force and vitality. You're turning your light off. You're turning your pleasure off. you don't have energy to even take many actions, and the actions you take are closed. You're just like this, right? Yeah, there will be a replay. Yeah, you can see it again, hon. That's just coat hangers. It's just metal. But it's just showing your field open or closing. You're magnetic and attracting all that you would love, or you're repelling it. And it doesn't matter what actions that you're taking. If you're in that energy, you're closed. If you're in this energy, I actually go to like bars and stuff and experiment with this and like doing work on my energy and my pleasure and whatever. And I'll go into the bar and I'll be just like, I'm just standing here. I'll just do it. Bang, like all these men, you know, like come to me. Then I'll be like in my shit or whatever and just not do any clear. And then I'll go in, I'll wear the same thing or wear something nice. No one says boo to me. It's just like literally this bang, bang, you know, and this happens in business as well. I was in Egypt on a retreat, loving my life, not fun experience, not telling a soul about a launch I had of alchemy. And all of a sudden people start messaging me about alchemy and about my program. I get back, have one masterclass, bang, the whole thing's full in 1 week. Normally it takes 2 months to launch my program. Not doing much action, but in the frequency of this heightened love, this heightened place of flow, tapping into my heart, right? And this brings me to the last point I want to make, and that is movement, action. You do need to take action. Like I've been talking a lot about attraction. I've been talking a lot about magnetism, right? There is action involved with magnetism. If you're thinking about flirting with someone or drawing someone to you or seducing your desires, like there is still some actions about that. There's a way you look, there's a way you walk, the way you talk, whatever, right? There's actions involved in seducing what we want to come to us. But I can tell you that when you are in fear and you're in your ego, you're going to have less actions that you're taking because shame and guilt and all the things are going to tell you to hide. You're going to tell you to be in fear, to withdraw. So you're going to take less actions. And even when you do take them, it's repelling it, right? But when you're in your heart and you move, the one little action you take is incredibly powerful and it makes the big difference. I use this example, and you may have heard me say this, like if you're trying to shoot for a target and you're rapid firing, this is what people do when they're in action mode and they're not being in alignment first. They'll just, and this is what I used to do, just bang, you know, shooting everywhere. Like, I'm going to get this target. And the more I shoot, I'm just going to get it somehow. No. If you actually take the time to breathe, check you're in the right position, you're not facing the opposite way, get aligned, then shoot, bang, you hit your target with one shot, right? So action's important, but it has to be secondary after the energetics have been dealt with. Because when, and I used to operate this way, you just take the action, you're just focusing on that without dealing with the first 2 points I just spoke about. You're in the physical realm and it's in density, it's in hard work, it's in hustle, it's in force, and you're not using power. You're not using ease and flow, which when it happens from the first two. So you definitely need to take action and take movement, but it has to be after the alignment's taken place. And once you've connected back to your heart, back to really what you would love, you go, what's obvious here? What's next here? Like what's needed here? And if you ask that, it's going to be just one simple step, one little nudge, one action that's going to come up and go, oh, this is what's required. I need to take some time out. I need to go have a bath. I need to go to massage. No, I need to go talk to this person, reach out to this person, act on this. Oh, no. I need to go do some alchemy, like do some soul work. Like it will become obvious what's required. You don't need to have a strategy coach telling you. When you're tapped into your heart and your soul and your superconscious, your intuition, you'll know what's next. That's not the rocket science. But you need to be in alignment first to firstly know, and then to move with alignment so it flows. So that's the last thing I want to say. Please write in here, what's your key takeaway? What's the key thing landing? What's coming out for you from all of this? I would love to hear you ladies doing that while I cool down because I'm super hot right now. Oh my goodness. I get so hot talking like this. Emotional blocks are created when you're not in alignment with what your heart truly wants. Yes. Love, stepping back into love. How do you deal with not nice people around you? That may be a question I'd love you to put in the women's coaching circle, hun, and I can do a video on that because I won't have time to address it tonight. It all happens in the non-physical first, 100%. Number one is the energy work from a space of heart and love and action. So often we try and do it the other way around. Yes, that's it. Being in your heart, otherwise you'll block results. Yeah, and the hustle and the ego, yes. Opening your heart is the key energy to create. Yeah, it is. Feel it all. Yes, yes. Remember to tap into the heart, higher self. Yeah. Wake up call out of your heart. Yes. Master of your own destiny, 100%. Alignment, back into action, power. Yeah, awesome. So, ladies, you know, I hope that you've got value out of this. I hope that you've received it. And the thing I want to say here at the end is that I have worked on this work, you know, for many years. I've now spent 800K on all of this over 8 years in my business to cut, you know, my own like magic formula to create and magnetize and manifest what I now have, right? And I still to this day, even with the top level coaches that I work with, that I spend a lot of investment on, and my own genius that I know how to work with as well, you know, I still to this day do need so much accountability, so much work, so much just investment in myself to keep my heart and my superconscious on the throne of my life and to keep that in the power and to not let the sneaky ego come through. And it's a constant thing, right? And that's with all of the resources and all of the power and all of the tools I have and all the coaches I have. And like, I don't want you to like think that this is just a simple thing, because like, I'm telling you, you don't need a hustle, and you don't, but it's not easy to do the energetic work. It's simple, but it's not easy, right? Because your ego desperately thinks you're in lack. It thinks you're in fear. It thinks you're in needing survival. So it constantly is going to keep trying to control things, control you, put you back in the matrix, put you back in your head, put you back in your automatic pilot to take you away from fulfillment, to take you away from abundance. It's a constant thing. It's trying to do its best. It's trying to keep you alive. But I can tell you, you know, as much as I want to give you everything possible, 1 hour of this work, like most likely isn't going to be all that you need to keep you in the heart, because I know it's not all I've needed and will I keep needing. So I have an invitation to you if it feels relevant and if you feel called. For the women that feel like this was great and this was what they needed and wanted, and that's where they're at right now, amazing, you know, but for the women that want to really look at, how do I literally live with my soul? How do I live with my heart, my superconscious center piece? How do I create business and wealth and impact and power from that place? You know, if you would like to look at that and you want to know how to do that, I'm just going to put a link in a moment in here. I'm going to just let you know of 2 things that I have right now, which are really to help you create that. The first thing is my offering called Alchemy. Alchemy is my 6-month mastermind, and it is literally here to help you master the world of magnetism, to help you master the world of the superconscious, the soul, business, and money, and to help you do it from an intuitive, beautiful space. To do it from a soul space that doesn't mean you're exhausted, you're depleted, your whole life and your family don't see you, and your clients just get used and they're just a dollar bill. Like, how do you create in a beautiful way that's in synchronistic way with your heart, your soul, with your family, and with the universe? How do you create in a way that enhances your clients? You know, when I created this program, Alchemy, I went to a retreat and it was all this embodiment soul work. And at the end of it, 2 days later, I just had this download of this program. Like the universe just gave it to me. And it's like in 10 minutes, just wrote it all out. And then a month later, I had a 100K launch, and it's now made me over $1 million the last few years. It hasn't been hard. You know, it's emotionally been a lot to do, but there hasn't been a lot of physical hustle, hard stuff to create it. And it's created so much change and impact for the women that have come through. They've also had the same experiences as me, created the same wealth and abundance and business and from soul. So if you would like some information on Alchemy, if it feels like it's something you'd like to explore, you know, please know with me, it's always intuitive with what we look at. There's never a thing of, oh, you put your name down. All right, let's force you into decisions. Like, it's just intuitive. We check in is where you're at, what you're needing. Is this right? Or do we feel it's right or not? If not, we suggest this, because I want to serve you in your highest. I don't want anything else. So if you would like information on alchemy, if that feels relevant for you, please put a yes, alchemy in the chat, just so I can know that you're keen for info on it and you'd like to explore. So that's alchemy. Now, the second thing I want to tell you about is my next retreat is Machu Picchu. We are going, and I'm like beaming, like I get so excited talking about Machu Picchu, but we're going to the most sacred, beautiful place, Machu Picchu, on the 20th of April. And we're going to have the most incredible journey from Machu Picchu to Lake Titicaca. Lake Titicaca is the sacral center of the world, if you know much about the chakras. And it's very much about you're connecting to your soul, doing a soul's initiation, soul pilgrimage, soul journey, having vision quests, having beautiful baths outdoors, like we're doing all the rituals, all the feminine. It's a very feminine embodiment space. We're going to be doing all the feminine embodiment work, deep soul, emotional work, connecting you to your heart, connecting you to your womb more and more to create more flow in those areas so that your life force can create shifts and abundance and business, and you can have downloads and things from that easeful place. I've been on retreats in Egypt. I've been in America. I've been, in Queensland, like all these retreats, and they have changed my absolute life. That is why I run retreats. They are so transformative in themselves, so very powerful. There is nothing like going on a journey outside of your home where you're not reminded of all these things of who you are, and going on a journey with these women that are just become lifelong friends and just doing such a deep connection with them, transforming with them so that you can come back and just embed that change deeply, in your life. And as I said, I've had so many retreats where I've birthed programs, had amazing manifestations and abundance coming off the end of them. And they're just crazy, the level of magnetic power that comes from it. So if you'd like info on Machu Picchu, can you even put in maybe MP or something, so I know it's different? MP or just yes for MP or whatever it is. If you want some info on Machu Picchu, because I'm super pumped and I would love to have, some of you ladies join me as well. So that's the main thing that I wanted to share, my loves. If there are any questions and you feel like there's still something arising that you haven't, had answer, usually I can try and answer them now, but I actually do have to go now. But if there are any, then please jump in the Women's Coaching Circle and put them in there, because I would love to start answering some in there. I'm actually also going to put this little link here. So for the people that have said that they would love info on alchemy or Machu Picchu, can you please go into that form and just fill in some of the questions so I can have your number or whatever. Say that. Oh, the link for the Women's Coaching Circle. I'll find that as well for you, hun. So please do that, because it just saves me trying to find you and figure out your name. And so many people don't come on here with their actual names, and I can't find who the heck it is. And but if you do that, or you send me a message on Instagram or Facebook, that would be super helpful. Either fill in the form or send me a message, because I'd love to get info to you, but I just also find finding you guys is super not easy sometimes. So that would be awesome. But I've so loved having you tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Have any questions, jump into the Women's Coaching Circle and ask there. I will give you some love there. And just love you girls so much. Thank you for your time. I really, really do appreciate you. Sending you all so much love. Ciao, ciao.